Well, we can't wait to hear about your story, how you got to learn the release technique, and then maybe you can share more about that with us.
So Donna, from the release technique, is a successful results coach, now recruiter, trainer, and teacher. For over 20 years, she has assisted others to achieve long-lasting, breakthrough performance results by inspiring and teaching others to, you ready for this? I love this part, think like a champion. Donna has been involved with the release technique, as we've said, and has committed her life to helping people to live a loving, happy, abundant life with ease.
So the release technique is a method that dramatically increases your performance levels in all areas. I love that part because it's wide-ranging across all areas and all levels. It shows you how to rid yourself of any negative emotions easily and painlessly on the spot. I mean, that just sounds so delicious and attractive, doesn't it? To do it without effort, grace and ease on the spot. And apparently, this is the next part that is just jaw-dropping and amazing. Over 160,000 people have learned this amazing method. So that to me says that it works, and there's so many results of those who have applied it where it actually works. Now, it's an inner technique for letting go that instantly puts you in touch with your successful self so that you can feel confident, calm, and in control of any situation.
Donna is a dynamic leader and speaker on today's most critical issues. She works with corporations, outplacement groups, individuals, and mastermind groups as well. She's living proof that anyone can do this if they are really interested. Donna, welcome to the program.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. Happy to be here.
So walk us through how you came across the release technique.
Yeah, well, I've, been a kind of a go-getter, as you could say, my whole life. But, one thing I never realized was I was suppressing a lot of negativity. And of course, when we're positive people, we don't want to even admit that we have negativity. So what was important for me when I discovered the release technique was that I watched a demonstration of it, and I was just amazed that everybody that did it had the most positive result. And I thought, if something so simple was so positive, then I want to know how to do this. I want to learn it. So I got involved just as a participant learning, and I quickly became, and again, maybe my success, drive for success, right? I just, when I devote myself to something, I really give my whole heart to it. And I have never seen anything so useful, so powerful, that helps people in every area of their life, from the financial, which is what, many people complain that it's not enough money or not enough time or, not enough peace. It's just basically we live in a lack consciousness. And I just found it to be anything that I'd ever learned, this superseded it by far. So that's what got me involved. And then, I will also say that Larry Kryon was, he developed the release technique. The founder is Lester Levinson, but Larry was a really tough, personality. And he really got you to realize that you are the only authority in your life. And there's something very deeply that resonated with me that confirmed that, yes, you are the authority. Why are we listening to this sound playing in our head? And so that was, for me, important also. And I think also, one more thing I'll say about Lester Levinson, because I didn't know anything about Lester and Larry when, I learned it like everybody else here is, potentially learning it. So Lester really opened my heart to the spiritual side of things. And I didn't really have an opening to that. And at the time, and he really, he melted my heart, and with really the power of love. And so I think the combination between Larry and Lester, and they put all their work together into a package where everybody can learn it is just amazing. And my life, I can't even describe what a dream life I have now compared to what my life was before. I mean, before I was just kind of like on the hamster wheel, just running and running and running and running. I don't know what I was running for, just that's what I was programmed to do. But now I have a life that is peaceful and open, and I live in the moment, and I trust the universe, and really, truly, positive attracts positive. We all hear that, but to really know that and really experience that is something incredible.
Well, we're gonna turn you loose here in any way you want to give us an example of this technique and whatever you want to say about it.
Yeah, perfect. Okay, good. Well, I'll start by I just share a little bit about the technique, and then I would love to do an example, take you through a few demonstrations of it. So, as I just said, positive attracts positive, and most people want to be happy. They want to be peaceful. Really, what they want is stability and to feel stable, where they're not going to fall. But yet, you talk to anybody on the street, and even whether we're open to enlightenment or we're still in the the world of that life is hard. Most people are suffering and they're disturbed and they have a lot of fear, and so the method, the release technique, allows you to go into the subconscious mind and remove these programs. They're like viruses. If a computer, the mind is like a computer. So if there's a virus on the computer and you don't take it off the computer, it's going to affect everything and it's not going to work properly. So what this release technique does is it's a scientific way of just going into the subconscious mind and removing these programs, these patterns that have been there and we don't realize they're there. That's why they're subconscious, and it allows us to rid ourselves of them. And by doing that and doing it simply and easily, there is an instantaneous shift in consciousness. And it's just an amazing thing when you can prove it to yourself. We always say, don't believe a word we say, but just take it for checking. In other words, you practice it yourself and you will see the results instantaneously. And so that is what we're going to demonstrate here. Now, it has been verified by Harvard and Columbia and UCLA and Penn University. They've done studies on the effectiveness of the release technique. And so all of that is on the website. What it basically comes down to is happiness is free. And we think we have to pay a huge price for it, but it's actually free. So why don't we have it? Why don't we have this thing called happiness? Really not happiness because somebody gave me something, but I mean happiness, which is the basis of everything. Happiness without a taint of sorrow. So this is what we get to experience by releasing. And so I'd love to do a demonstration if you would like to volunteer.
Absolutely. I mean, who doesn't want to get rid of negative stuff? and I love that you began by saying, I was a positive person, but I didn't realize the negative things that were there that got in the way. And that's, right, I guess, the blind spot. And we don't want to admit that we have that, that junk in there,
right?
Because
I couldn't even look at it. I mean, that was the thing, is I just could not look at it because I didn't have a way to look at it, because my conditioning was you have to be successful and positive, or I don't know, I guess we think we die or something, but I never really examined it. And that's one of Lester's great quotes, is examine your thinking. You have to look at it.
Yes. I think that requires a bit of bravery and courage as well, because it's facing an aspect of yourself that you don't want there. But to even admit that it's there is like horrible.
Right. And I think another thing that's really just very precious about it and very intimate about it is that when you realize you're just, 100% the same as everybody else, mm-hmm. that you're not so, we're so self-absorbed. And when you realize that everybody has the same issues, it's just so, I I don't know, heartwarming. To me, it's heartwarming just to
Yeah.
see that we can just kind of be naked, sort of share ourselves
Yeah.
openly.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's, for me, release judging,
Okay, good.
judgment. So,
Okay,
yeah. And that's a
okay, good.
filter.
Okay, good. Perfect. Right. And probably, again, all the listeners can relate to this because we don't really question, like, why are we judging? We just do. So just for now, I'm going to go take you through a few different releases. So the first thing I want you to do is just get in touch with somewhere in the front of your body where we have our feelings. We tend to clutch our feelings. So when you think about being a judger or being judged, either way, just notice there's a clutching sensation in the front of your body, and just relax and just open up a door or a window, just a little space here, just to give it a way out. And can you just relax? And everyone follow along, because for all the listeners, this isn't something you just watch. I mean, you participate, and so you can have your own experience. So Monica, just relax and just open up and allow those feelings, those judging feelings, just allow them to come up, so that again, they have a way out. Just allow them to pass through and feel them passing through. And even more, just allow the energy to come up and allow the energy to pass through, giving it a way out. And just relax even more, open up even wider. And then just, again, think of that judging. We don't like that feeling of being a judge or being judged. So feel that clutching sensation, open up nice and wide, and just allow the energy to come up and just feel the energy passing through. It's just a kinesthetic release. It's nice and simple, but it's a great way to get started in releasing. And then just notice what you experience as you feel it passing through. Do you feel a little lighter, a little more relaxed? And then you can tell me, Monica, what are you experiencing?
So I began by feeling and sensing with judgment, images that come through with the person with their finger pointing, at something. And the feelings in my body was more being contracted. And I was contracting inwards. And then when you asked us to pull those judging, bring it through, I felt a real opening. And I almost felt my chest opening up even more. And then the whole finger pointing and everything else just kind of softened. And It was so much more freeing with that openness that came through.
Right. And this is important for us to just, as we interact, we're just confirming with each other that, yes, there was a shift that happened. Now I want you to think of something that frustrates you. Now, maybe it's judging. It may be the same thing, but it might be something else. Just take a look at something that either frustrates you or, let's say, worries you. And then which would it be, worry or frustration? Which one do you want to work on?
I think more frustration.
Okay.
Yeah.
And on a scale of 0 to 10, you can measure it. What would you rate the frustration? 10 being the highest frustration, and 1 being the least.
I think when I get into frustration, it's always at an 8. Otherwise, I'm not frustrated.
Okay. All right. So see if you can get it up to an 8 right now. Just bring up that energy of frustration.
Okay.
And now I can show you how to let go of the frustration, but you just have to do something different. We don't like these feelings, so then we want to push them away. But then that just collects them. That doesn't actually release them. So I just need you to do something different, which is to say yes to the frustration so it can leave. So right now, could you, and everybody follow along, all the listeners follow along, rate your frustration on a scale of 0 to 10 or 1 to 10 and follow along with us. So could you say yes to the frustration so it can leave?
Yes.
And could you say yes to the frustration so it can leave even more?
Yes.
And could you say yes to the frustration some more?
Yes.
And could you say yes to it even more?
Yeah.
And could you say yes a little more?
Yeah.
And even more?
Yes.
And yes, even more?
Yeah.
And even more?
Yes.
And just notice on a scale of 0 to 1 to 10, 10 being the most, 0 being the least, what would you rate yourself?
I think back to a 1.
Okay, good. So it came way down.
Yeah.
Now, that's proof that you can do it. Now, for some people, it may take a few times of going through it, but others, it'll just release right away. But now let's get rid of that remaining 1 because, it's like being, bit by a rattlesnake and getting 99% of the poison out. We want to get it all out. So now just open up. And could you just say frustration, I love you.
Frustration, I love you.
I really, really love you.
I really, really love you.
I love you if you stay. I love you if you go. I just love you unconditionally.
I love you if you stay. I love you if you go. I love you unconditionally.
And can you now just open up and just let love take it?
Yeah.
And then what do you experience?
I experience love took it. It's gone.
Right. That's it. It just evaporates. And because we have this idea that there is something called frustration, like a thing, but when you go to the grocery store, you can't buy frustration. So it's not a thing. It's just a narrative. And when we start to take over the narrative, then when we're talking to it, it's not talking to us. We're the authority. And so we can release ourselves from any negativity. And so that's the beautiful thing about the method, the release technique, is that it works on anything. And we're just giving an easy demonstration of it. But let's do another one because it's so good, right? Once you get releasing, it's like, okay, more.
It is. And it also brings in new insights because part of what I was also getting with the frustration is, I am frustrated about something not turning out because I have put so much energy into creating something that I want it to go a certain way. And so it's just recognizing all the little aspects that create the frustration itself. But then when I started focusing just on the feeling of frustration, it was so easy to dismiss it. And then the beauty of the other gifts that came. Right. And our conditioning is that we need to get somewhere. And we're always kind of, come on, trying to get to the future time when we'll get, when we'll be at peace. But it never comes. So if we can learn to be at peace in the moment, then everything works itself out because all of that was just imaginary anyways, that something wasn't, it's such a future projection. So, all right, so let's do this next one. This next one is really great. So can you see that even with regards to what you were trying to figure out about how something was going to work out with your project that you put so much energy into, you see that we have a habit of wanting to figure things out. Yeah. And the mind is just a recording and playback mechanism. So it's just accumulated all this past. So it only has in there what it has in there. So if you're trying to figure something out, it doesn't have it. If it has your shoe size, it has your address, but it doesn't have what you're looking for. So can you see that it's like looking in a file cabinet for something that's not there? Yeah. It's kind of silly. So just for now, we're going to do something different. So could you let go of wanting to figure out anything? Just for now. Cool. That's hard, but... Well, okay. That's the mind that says it's hard, but it's what hard is looking for something that's not there and then thinking it's going to be there, right? So just for now, could you let go of wanting to figure out what's going to happen with your project? Sure. And could you let go of wanting to know what to do, what you should do about it? Yes. And could you let go of wanting to know what the answer is? Yeah. And could you let go of wanting to know anything at all, any solutions at all, just for 1 minute? For 1 minute, absolutely. And could you let go of wanting to think? Yes. And could you let go of wanting to think even more? Yes. And could you let go of wanting to think even more? Yes. And then notice what you experience, not what you think, but what do you experience when there's no thinking? I experience an openness that allows me to receive information that is there that may have been blocked by me trying to figure it out.
Right. Because when we're figuring it out, we're just in that accumulated mental, garbage pail, as Lester would call it. But when we're open, then our infinite intelligence can come through. And so when we're nice and quiet, and that's what Lester's whole teaching was, is about quieting the mind and living from a quiet mind. But most of us, again, that sounds impossible. So now there's a second part to this release. Can you see that when you're frustrated and you can't figure something out, can you see that you disapprove of yourself? It's just kind of an automatic thing.
Yes, and it's almost like it grips you so that you can't let go of it. And while ever you're in that gripping, nothing flows.
Right. So whenever we're disapproving of ourselves, and we don't realize that automatic subconscious program, but then we can discriminate. We can take ourselves off automatic and say, does discriminating help me solve my problem?
Does not.
Does not. So that's you're the boss, right? You're in charge. So if it's not helping you, then you can do something different. So right now, you could either keep disapproving of yourself, it's like beating yourself up, or you could decide to be positive and loving. What do you decide?
Positive and loving, of course.
All right.
Yeah.
So right now, could you let go disapproving of yourself?
Yes.
And could you let go disapproving of yourself some more?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And could you let go disapproving of yourself even more?
Yes.
And could you let go disapproving of yourself a little bit more?
Yes.
And even more?
Yes.
And a little more?
Yes.
And now can you turn it around? Could you just give yourself some love and approval? Nice and easy.
Yes.
Could you give yourself a little more love and approval?
Absolutely.
And even more love and approval?
Yes.
You can't OD on love, so can you just love yourself even more?
Yeah.
And even more?
Yes.
And even more?
Yes.
And now just check in. What do you experience? Not what do you think, but what's the deeper experience?
Actually, I feel myself expanding. It's almost like there's a soft pink space around me that's expanded. That wasn't there a moment ago.
Right. So when we're in the mind, we're in this sort of poor me mindset. And when we release, we're free of it. It's like we're backing out of it. We're stepping back from it. And if we would just learn that everything we're looking for is already within us, we could realize the real power that we are. But until we undo this, limited mind and the way that, this consciousness is playing, it's like playing a game, until we realize that we're unconsciously giving power to the ego to use against us. But it's like a wake-up call. That's what Lester says. Misery is a prod. Misery is a prod, prodding us to wake up. So that's another one. And then we'll just do one more because it's so good. So now, if you just take a look at something in your, something where you're undecided on, you're not sure which way to go. Could be anything, simple or big decisions. Do you have something?
Yes.
Okay. So now the mind is only creative. So whenever we hold in mind a picture, something we don't like, for example, like if I have a bad back, and I say, I don't like my bad back, right? I want my back to be better. We're holding in mind the wrong picture. So whenever we're kind of at that crossroads and we don't know if we should go this way or that way, then we can clear it up really simply by just realizing it's just a picture in our consciousness. Mm-hmm. So just say to yourself, I'm the boss.
I'm the boss.
It's just a picture in my mind.
It's just a picture in my mind.
I love you and I let you go.
I love you and I let you go. Yeah.
And just allow that energy, whatever is there, whatever that picture. It's like erasing a chalkboard when we're in school. Mm-hmm. We just erase it so that there's just nothing left.
Yeah.
And then what do you experience?
I experience a whole new realm of possibilities coming.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's your picture, it's your consciousness. You realize you can put whatever you want on that. You make whatever decision you want to make. But we get caught in the mind, which says basically, I should this and I shouldn't that, and do this and don't do that. So it's always kind of a split mind. And that's what we get caught in. And until we realize it, I think the cumulative effect of releasing is that when you release enough of the negativity, you just start becoming a deliberate creator, and you are clear that it's up to you to decide what it is that you'd like. And there's no unworthiness. All that unworthiness is just a lie that we're telling ourselves. It's this poor me story, but we all can relate to it. And when I first started releasing, I had to confront these same things that were, conditioning that I had taken on as a child. And, the society we live in demonstrates that conditioning, but to really free yourself from it, there's just nothing better than being free from this kind of enslavement that we all experience. And then to have compassion and love and forgiveness, because love is the highest energy. I know you know that, and I know all the listeners know that. We all know it. But like you said, we catch ourselves judging, or we catch ourselves, feeling, undeserving. Or we have to really step up and be the boss and realize I'm the boss. This is just a picture in my mind. I love you and I let you go. And you just erase that picture and let there be nothing for a moment. And in that nothingness, the space for you to really show up is there.
This is so valuable, Donna.
I think we've all been facilitated today,
yes.
Not just you.
Yes, everyone listening, it's
following along. Oh, yeah.
So easy to apply the technique. So if you've enjoyed, and why wouldn't you have enjoyed what Donna's sharing, she does workshops both in person as well as virtually online. And you can find out all sorts of information about that on her website. It's releasetechnique.com. So thank you so much, Donna. Any last parting words before we take a break?
Yes. Well, I want to say also too, it's Release Technique is who I support. And they're really I love the Release Technique, and I really encourage everybody that there's a few things that I just want to make the point is we offer something, the Release Technique offers something that is sort of rare. And that is, they have a support line, like a hotline that you can call from 9 a.m. to 5:30 p.m., Monday through Friday, Pacific time. And when you purchase the Release Technique or do any of the courses, we have volunteers that will help you if you get stuck in your releasing. And so that's there. It's no charge. It's free for everyone who participates in releasing. We also do a free weekly call every week where we have it's a world call. So everybody from around the world comes and we do releasing together. And there's a 30-day money back guarantee for any of the products that you purchase. So it's just, again, it's really a company that has a lot of dignity and love and trust and caring. And I just love it. I just have devoted my life to it because it has helped so many people. And I've watched people drop diseases and drop all kinds of financial limitations and lack, and they've just turned their whole life around.
So beautiful. I can't thank you enough, Donna, for everything that you shared. And
thank you, Donna. That was great.
Being in that vibration of love. Thank you.
Yes. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
I appreciate it so much. I feel lighter and brighter than I did when we began this section of the program. I hope you do as well. We're now going to take a short break, and then we'll see you back here for the Circle of 12. Welcome back from the break, everyone. And I just love when we have guests on the program who really help us create the best versions of ourselves that we can be. So thank you again, Donna.
Thank you, Donna. And I think the release technique is very, very valuable and definitely one of those methods that we all need to hear about.
Absolutely. Now, before we go into miracle moments and the circle of 12, there's an important reminder for our members, because this coming Sunday morning at 8:30 a.m. Pacific time, we're going to present the new and very popular program called The Green Mist.
Indeed, and the Green Mist program is resulting in many people having personal healings for themselves on so many levels. For those of you who would like to experience what we're talking about, you can see an example of this program, and that example, and it's a free one, you can have at cryonmasters.com/GM. It's free. Take a look to see what people are talking about. You know, prayer and sending compassionate energy, it works. This is why we have what we have coming up next. And many of our members have told us about the miracles they have received through the very program you're watching. In a moment, I'm going to ask this group who is watching now with us to join us and send love and compassion to others. Before we do, I'd like to ask Monica to share a miracle moment which happened to one of our Circle of 12 members.
So this miracle moment comes from Janet. And Janet says, I experienced a breakthrough while listening to Sarah Landon channel The Council. Now, for those of you who are not regular members, that episode was 145 and it was given on September the 6th back in 2023. So you can go back and watch that amazing Healing Wednesday program. But Janet continues with her miracle, and she says, for a year I have been struggling with intense feelings about rifts between myself and 3 other people in my life whom I care deeply about. Where does my responsibility lie in creating the rifts? Where does their responsibility lie? Why has this happened? What does it say about me? I have plagued myself with these questions. The breakthrough came in a thought of 4 words. Nothing has gone wrong. Nothing has gone wrong. There is nothing to regret. There is nothing to fix. There is no fault anywhere. There is just life expressing itself in all its variety. This insight has begun to relieve me of months of hurt and self-recrimination. I'm very grateful to the entire Healing Wednesday community for being a catalyst for this small miracle. And I want to say, Janet, I think this is a huge miracle. It is amazing. And thank you for sharing those elevated thoughts that you had that completely changed the situation for you and relieved you of all of those sufferings and hurts that you had. That's so worth celebrating. And I know that everyone hearing this miracle moment for you can just feel that complete shift and transformation in energy. And I actually feel that your words are helping someone else who really needed to hear that in this moment. So thank you again, Janet. And if you have a miracle moment, share it with others. It's really important that we celebrate our victories. So what we'd like to do now is come together as a group and create coherence with each other, because we know prayer works. And we also know that when one or more are gathered, the results of those prayers are amplified. And so what we'd like to do now is send an amplification of love and compassionate energy to those people who are requesting our help. So I invite you to close your eyes and just take a moment to focus on the area of your heart, and at the same time, allow your breathing to become a little slower than it was perhaps a moment ago. And as the breath becomes slower, and consciously breathing in and draw that breath into the heart area, And as you breathe out, imagine breathing out from the heart area. And so the most easiest way to send energy to others is to first generate the heart energy within yourself, which is just filled with particles of the Creator within it. Every molecule of your body represents a piece of the Creator within it. So you have within you all these incredible God particles ready to respond to your instructions. And so together as a group, let us give the instructions to those pieces of God within us to radiate love and compassion out into the field, and for those particles of love and compassion to make their way to those who are requesting prayers of help from us. You may even feel or sense or visualize these tiny particles of light making their way through the field and falling down onto those who are requesting help, and in a very subtle way it is melding into their energy field. You may even feel or sense relief coming into those who are now receiving this from us as a coherent group. When we get to feel and experience peace, love, compassion, it releases all fears and anxieties. They simply melt and dissolve away. And then we're able to really relax and receive the solutions that already exist for our situation. And so we continue feeling and sensing and focusing on these particles of light that are already within us. Each breath you take and each breath you exhale sends out more particles into the field. And so all those on the planet now who are requesting prayers of help and benevolence, they too are included. And they are receiving in their subtle energy field particles of light being sent from us. And there is an intelligent wisdom that resides within each human that knows exactly what to do with these particles of light. And so from this place of love and support from all of the intelligent wisdom and guidance around us, let us now move to Kryon and the circle of 12.
Greetings, dear ones. I'm Kryon. Come a little closer. Come a little closer to that beautiful